Hola! Hi, everybody. This is Michelle with Appreze. And this video is going to go over one of the books we've published called Where is My Baby? Dónde está mi bebé? This book, the purpose of it is to teach a few Spanish words and phrases in a very non intimidating way. We use a lot of cognates, which you'll see in this list towards the bottom, mama and papa, for mom and dad or mother and father. These aren't necessarily the most common words used for mom and dad or mother and father, because you could say mami, you could say madre, same for papa. They have that word has its own variations, just like English does, has mom, mommy, mother, father, but we're using a lot of cognates. So if you see at the very bottom of the list, tigre, that's tiger. A lot of people who know English would be able to guess what that word is. That's what cognates are. And we actually have a video on our YouTube channel about cognates as well as pronunciation. So please do go to our YouTube channel if you need help with understanding what cognates are, why we're using those, as well as how to pronounce the sounds of Spanish. Another resource we have for helping to pronounce the sounds of Spanish is the pronunciation guide that's in a blog post on our website. You can also find all of these resources at appreze.com/preschool Spanish. It'll outline everything and have the links for you there. So please use those resources if you need it. And if not, then we're just going to go right ahead into the book. Now, I'm going to read the book to you and I'm going to give some tips along the way. So, this is not a straight read through. The purpose is for you to have some ideas on how you could read the book. So we'll start on the first page. Bebé canguro feels warm, safe, and loved in his pouch on Mama cangura. On this page, I would slow down on any of the Spanish words like bebé canguro. Enunciate each syllable clearly so that your children can pick up on the word and repeat it back to you eventually. When it's time to play, he plays. When it's time to be quiet, he's quiet. The other bebés aren't like bebé canguro. Now, on this one, that example showed you how to match what the words are saying with your voice. So, with play, that's an exciting thing for kids. You show excitement. Quiet, you have a lower voice. And then also, I want to mention on the word bebé because you'll see it a lot in this book. You can pronounce that the Castilian way or the way that it's done in Spain, bebé. Or in Latin America, you'll see that it's as in mess, so bebé. You'll have different pronunciations in the Spanish speaking world, just like you do in English. And so that's something that you will want to choose from to see which pronunciation of bebe you want to use. The other bebes hide, climb, and swing. On this one, you'll notice I paused after I said hide because you want the child to have time to process what's going on in the picture that's related to that word and then move on to the next one and pause. ¿Dónde está mi bebé? Where is my baby? This page is similar to a few other pages where you have a lot of animals on one page. You can have fun with this. Once you've read this book through, let's say you read it 3 or 4 times a week at night before bedtime, and your child is starting to pick up the words for each animal or animal in Spanish. Then what you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going to point to an animal and I'm going to ask you what the name is for that animal in Spanish. And then you can just go and move your finger around really fast in a circle around all these animals. And then, boom, drop your finger on one of them and say, ¿Qué animal es? What animal is it? And then have your child say it in Spanish. If your child doesn't know yet, that's okay. You can, let's say you pointed to the gorilla. You can say it with me, gorilla. And then I would clap with the syllables to start. So say gorilla and have your child clap with each syllable. That helps the child really really get that in their head of which syllable says which. Because if you say it really quickly, a lot of times the children will get the words wrong, get the syllable wrong. And so it's really good to clap when you're doing that. Estoy aquí, mamá cangura. I am here, mommy kangaroo. This is one of the times there will be an English translation for the Spanish right below it. This will not be the case with the majority of the book, and so no, leaning on that pronunciation guide at the beginning of the book will be important if you're new to Spanish. If only our bebés would stay with us. Bebé canguro has an idea. This is one of those pages where you have a lot of the animals, and you can do the same thing with quizzing your child on, can you point to the gorilla? And then have your child point to the animal. That way you can see if they're starting to get the names of the animal. As you progress along and you can see, wow, they're really comprehending which animal I'm saying in Spanish, then you can say, let's go through here and see how fast you can name each animal in Spanish. Ready, set, go. Cocodrilo, tigre, león, elefante. And then see who can do it faster. Have a game with it. This is one of the spreads that does not have any words. And so on this one, you can say, what are the canguros doing? And have them guess. Now, after they've gone through this book several times, they might already know, of course, what the canguros are doing. And then you can say, like, point to the brown kangaroo. You can tell the female animals in this book by the eyelashes. And so the brown one is mama kangura. You can say, then you can point to the brown kangaroo and say, is this bebé kanguro? And then your child would giggle and say, no. And then say, ¿Quién es? Who is it? And then you can have them say, Mama Kangura. Now notice with bebé canguro ends in an O, Mama Kangura ends in an A, masculine and feminine. We have a video on our YouTube channel that covers gender. So if you want to learn more about why some words end in O and some in A, basically A is going to be feminine for the most part. O will be masculine, but that video will tell you that that's not always the case. And so you might want to look at that video if you want to understand that concept. Otherwise, you can just focus on memorizing it's maman kangura and bebé canguro. Hi, bebé elefanta. I need to clean. ¿Dónde está mi bebé? Here's a pouch for bebé elefanta. Now you'll notice I did a high-pitched voice for the baby kangaroo. And that's something you can do just to be silly and engage your child more in the book, is adding a different voice for the babies than for the parents. Estoy aquí, papá elefante. Bebé elefanta feels warm, safe, and loved in her pouch on Papa Elefante. On this verse at the very bottom that says warm, safe, and loved, that's going to be repeated several times with each animal as they find their baby. What you can do is, as you're the first time through, you might just want to read it. The second time through, you can pause when you say bebé elefanta feels, and then look at your child and have them say warm, safe, and loved in her, and then you can say in her pouch on, and then have them say Papa Elefante. If they don't know it's Papa Elefante, then you can clap and do the syllables again as they're learning. Papa Elefante. And then as they start getting those, words clearly and pronouncing them correctly, then you can go ahead and drop the clapping. "Ay, bebé zebra, you have to eat your vegetables. ¿Dónde está mi bebé?" Now, in all of these pages where the parent has lost their child or their baby, you can say after you ask, "¿Dónde está mi bebé?" You can ask your child, "Do you know where the bebé is? ¿Dónde está el bebé?" or la bebé if it's a girl animal. If you don't know about gender, that's okay. You can just stick to reading, "¿Dónde está mi bebé?" Here's a pouch for bebé zebra. Estoy aquí, mamá zebra. Bebé zebra feels warm, safe, and loved in his pouch on Mama Zebra. Ay, bebé tigre, don't climb out of the stroller. ¿Dónde está mi bebé? Then you can say, "Do you see bebé tigre? ¿Dónde está?" Here's a pouch for bebé tigre. Now, if you know your colors in Spanish, you can expand on this book in so many ways because there are so many colors. But when the pouch comes up, you can say, "¿Qué color es?" What color is it? And point to the pouch. And then if you know your colors, you can and they don't, then you can say azul for blue. If they know their colors, because a lot of kids are learning Spanish in preschool and elementary, then you can ask them what the color is and have them teach you and say azul. And I would do that with all the colors in the book here and there as you go through this book more and more and they get the words that are being taught in the book, then add the colors. Estoy aquí, Papa Tigre. Bebe Tigre feels warm, safe, and loved in his pouch on Papa Tigre. Ay, Bebe Cocodrila, why won't you sleep? ¿Dónde está mi bebé? Here's a pouch for Bebe Cocodrila. Estoy aquí, mamá cocodrila. Bebé cocodrila feels warm, safe, and loved in her pouch on Mama Cocodrila. So, because repetition is the way that kids learn, and especially with foreign language, they'll hear these words over and over again. To break up any monotony that you might feel with the repetition, I would enunciate and have intonation in your voice that makes it more interesting. And children, especially smaller children at the preschool age, if you've noticed a lot of times they'll want to watch the same movies over and over again. Repetition is a lot of times how they learn well. And so engage them in transitioning from you reading it to them memorizing it and teaching you and reading it to you. Reading it in the sense of they're memorizing it and they're eventually going to be able to remember these verses. Ay, bebé gorila, I need to work. ¿Dónde está mi bebé? Here's a pouch for bebé gorila. Estoy aquí, papá gorila. Bebé gorila feels warm, safe, and loved in her pouch on Papa Gorilla. Ay, bebé león, ¿dónde está mi bebé? Ay, bebé jirafa, ¿dónde está mi bebé? Here are pouches for your bebés. Now, it's called number when you make a singular noun plural. So in this instance, you have bebé, león, bebé, jirafa. Both of them are bebés. And this is something that you can teach your child along the way. Again, it's another thing to grow with this book on. I would not present it necessarily the first several times. First, you just want your child to learn what the Spanish words are that are being said in this book, and then you can start to note. Um, we have one bebé, two bebé, and so do we say bebé or bebés? And then have them learn about singular and plural, or what we call number, through this book. And by the way, there is a video on number also on our YouTube channel. Now, another wordless spread, you can have fun with this by saying, which animal is angry? And then they'll say, león. If they say lion, just say, that's right, the lion. Let's say it in Spanish, león. And then have them clap it and say it back to you. Um, and you can have fun by saying, what kind of sound would Papa León say? And throwing in that Spanish word whenever you can. And then have them repeat back in a full sentence. Papa León would say, grrr. And that's way you can engage them into this. You can also say, who's being naughty? And have them say, Bebé León. And E is how you say that in Spanish. And bebé jirafa. And you can, each time you go through the spread, ask them a different question and have them repeat back the Spanish words. Estoy aquí, Papá León. Estoy aquí, Papá Jirafa. Bebé León and Bebé Jirafa feel warm, safe, and loved in their pouches on Papa León and Papa Jirafa. Now, when you say Papa León, I would point to the lion. And when you when you say Papa Jirafa, point to Papa Jirafa so they get the connection. Now, when it's time to play, the bebés play. All right, in this book, this is a very beginning book, and it's supposed to use a lot of cognates and be very simple so that it's not intimidating, and it's a very good introductory book to Spanish so children can grow with the language and feel confident. Because of that, it says the bebés. If you know Spanish and feel comfortable with it, you can say los bebés and use the article. A, and the are called articles, of course, in Spanish and English. And so you'll want to use los bebés instead of the babies or the bebés. And you can do that throughout the book and start adding articles as you're comfortable so that your child starts to see the Spanish articles with the nouns. When it's time to be quiet, the bebés are quiet. And when a mama or papa asks, ¿Dónde está mi bebé? This is another good page where you can quiz them without them knowing on the animals and colors if you know them. You can also add numbers. So most all of us know 1 through 10 in Spanish. So you could say, let's count los animales or the animals. And then say uno, dos, tres, and have them use their finger to point on the animals as y'all count together. Another page you can do that on is this one. You can count the animals, you can do the colors. It says, all bebés say, and then we have a repetitive verse here. The purpose of this is so that they learn estoy aquí means I am here. So to start, when you're first reading this book, I would say, estoy aquí, I am here. Mama cangura, mommy kangaroo. And then on the elephant, say, estoy aquí. What does that mean? See if your child knows. If not, that's okay. Just say, I am here. Papa elefante. Is Papa elefante a boy or a girl? And then if they say boy, you'll know they get that Papa is dad. This is the way you can quiz them without them knowing, but also It can tell you where they need more instruction along the way. And then you can keep doing that throughout the animals. Now, as they start getting a lot of your questions right, what you can do is take turns on the animals. You start with, Estoy aquí, mamá cangura. What does that mean? Have your child tell you, I am here, mommy kangaroo. Awesome. Then you say, You're ready. Tell me what the bebé elefante says. And then they can say, Estoy aquí. And they might need help with whether it's a mama or a papa. Papa elefante. And after a while, you're going to do every other one. Then you read through the book several times like that. Then they're going to be able to read this entire spread for you. Now, to make it a little more interesting, after they really get all of these animals and that they understand what estoy aquí means, what you can do is jumble it up and say, I'm going to, you don't have to read every single one after they get all the animals and understand estoy aquí means I am here. So what you can do is say, I'm going to point to un animal, an animal. And then you're going to tell me in Spanish what it is, which bebe it is. And so then you just point to one, say you point to the zebra, then they'll say, "Bebé zebra." And so you can celebrate, and then you can have them quiz you and point to an animal. And then this page ends, except when they play hide and seek. And here again, the last page has an opportunity to um, try to find the hidden animals by using their Spanish names. And your child could say, "Hey, mom or dad, find bebe tigre," and then you can point to it. I would have them, after they get all these words, really start taking control of this book and using it to quiz you and put them in that driver's seat, because the more someone has to teach, the more they learn. And that is it. If you want more resources, please go to www.appreze.com/publishing. That has all of our books. Or you can go to appreze.com/preschool Spanish for all of the preschool Spanish resources. I hope you have fun with this book and that it's a bonding experience with you and your child. And if you have any questions, please shoot us an email at hello@appreze.com. Otherwise, adios. Goodbye.